Scott Perry, a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee. Is this an act of war, Congressman?
Well, the president might not recognize it as such, but I would say the Islamic State and these kind of insurgents worldwide have declared war on the United States some time ago. And as we would say in the Army to the president, it's time to get in the war.
All right. So if he were to expand airstrikes against ISIS positions, even without your immediate approval, that is Congress's approval, you would support that?
Let me tell you this, Neil. We've known this for many of us for 3-4 years. I questioned Ambassador Ford a year and a half ago. What the president needs to do is take a leadership role instead of while considering. I mean, you tell the mother and the family of Steven Sotloff that we don't have a strategy because we're considering all our options. If we'd have considered our options a couple years ago, maybe him and James Foley's families and those two individuals wouldn't be in the circumstance they're in. So what the president and the administration needs to do is start leading. Stop leading from behind and get in the fight and start taking some action.
So if he did that, sir, then your suggestion to start leading and take unilateral action, even though it might not involve immediate approval from Congress, because that might take some time, would you support that?
It depends on what it is, Neil. When I say lead, I don't mean take unilateral action. I mean come to the American people, come to the world, come to the Congress and say, this is our plan, this is our strategy, this is my vision, this is the narrative that America wants to have, where we set the conditions of the fight and the conditions for success. That's what I mean when I say leading. None of that has happened.
All right, when you say leading, though, does that involve in widening our campaign against ISIS positions, not only in Iraq, but in Syria, but in any other areas we suspect ISIS might be holding out?
I think leading means that using the Obama administration's terminology, smart power, okay? But it needs smart people behind smart power. So you use all of power, which include diplomacy, but also the specter of military action, not only from the United States, but coalition forces. Where's the president? Where has he been in putting a coalition together, not only of America and its close allies like Great Britain and like Australia, but of the neighboring nations who have the most at stake? Where has he been while this is happening? This has been going on for some time now, so he should have started much sooner, but it's never too late. Nobody leaves a cancer in their body unattended. Nobody in their right mind does that, and that's what has been happening. So I don't want to necessarily give him unilateral approval or approval to act unilaterally, but I do want to say that the Congress is interested in where he wants to go. But right now we have no idea where he wants to go, and neither do the American people, and neither does the world.
But you mentioned neighbors in the region and our allies, and I think they don't get their act together, and Saudi Arabia seems to be speaking out of both ends of its mouth. It is kind of hard to develop a coalition when they're not being very clear about their own resolve.
Well, it's doubly hard when you have no idea what your own strategy, what your own values, your own foundation is, and I think that's where our president and this administration is. They are rudderless. They don't know where they stand on it. So how can they lead anybody else, including the American people or an international coalition? It's hard to be critical of others when you're in the same circumstance yourself.
But I just want to be clear, and I'm sorry to be so redundant on this, but I just want to be clear, Congressman. You would back the president expanding a campaign. You don't think Congress would come back at him and criticize him for doing so if he were to do so?
Well, let me be clear, Neil, especially under this president, we don't feel in the Congress, I certainly don't feel comfortable with just allowing him to expand the program without seeing what the ends, just the means, but seeing what the ends were. So I don't want to say I'm going to give him a blank check, nor should any American, nor should the Congress. Okay. We want to know what the plan is, and then we will say yes or no.
Congressman, thank you very, very much.
That's what leadership is, and that's his prerogative, that's his responsibility, that's his duty.
Sir, thank you very much. In the meantime, if the